Viewers and subscribers, welcome back to Beating the Press podcast. I am your host, Rafa. Now, joining me this evening to preview the two big matches coming up on the weekend, I've returned to the podcast, Sir Cole.
Good evening, viewers and subscribers.
Yes, Sir Cole, welcome back.
Glad to be back.
Yeah, we see Manu pulling out one over Burnley there, in their last fixture. A narrow 1-0, but a win nevertheless.
It's a welcomed win, and that's where Alex always says 3 points in September or 3 points in May. So he gives that for it.
Indeed, and we have a big game coming up over the weekend, the West London Derby. Fulham taking on Chelsea. How do you see that one, Sir Cole?
Chelsea got a a long awaited win this week in the Carabao Cup. Hope they can spur them on to playing some better football. It may just be what they needed to kickstart their season. And let's see what they come with this weekend versus a spirited Fulham team.
Yeah, definitely a spirited Fulham team. Thus far, the season has been a bit up and down for them. But, they made a few new signings, lost the talismanic striker, Mitrovic, brought in Jimenez. But Jimenez hasn't been the same player, Sir Cole, ever since that terrible head injury. So goals seem to have been dried up because Jimenez is really not troubling the back of the net.
Some persons or some teams, may think that buying a striker is the be all and end all, but it takes a lot more work to actually get the ball to the striker and put the striker in a position to score. So the fact that they went for an experienced striker should really have given some of the results, but that's not how football works. Sometimes it takes a bit more time to actually get some results going.
Yeah, definitely. It's a team effort. And while, the rest of the team seem to be functioning relatively well, finding the back of the net seem to definitely be the major concern for Fulham at this time. Defensively, they have a solid goalkeeper in the form of Leno. And, in the midfield, you have the likes of the workhorse Paulinho and a few attacking threats on the flanks, Wilson, Pereira. But in terms of just that clinical striker, Jimenez seem not to be doing the job too effectively right now. And, really the subs are not pulling their weight either. So, options are very limited because the only other, number 9 they have is Vinicius, which, he's not he's not the kind of striker you're gonna build your team on to say take you to the next level.
The thing is, had they gone for a less established striker, we would have said that they could have gone for a more experienced striker. For example, Jimenez. As you can see, they have brought him in, it has not worked. After bringing in the player, have to work to get the best out of the player and to create chances for the player. So if you actually bring in another striker and decide to play the same way, it probably will yield similar results. So I think what I need is a change of tactic, not necessarily a change of player to really see if you can get a better result.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they did get a good result against Arsenal, earlier in the season when, they drew with Arsenal. But, and they did manage a very narrow opening day win over Everton. But since then, it has been up and down for them. And, the same can be said of Chelsea as well. Chelsea pulled out a narrow win in the Carabao Cup over high-flying Brighton. That one must have come to you as a surprise, Sir Cole.
Yeah, but these cup games are very difficult to predict. Sometimes I remember a few years ago there was one weekend in the FA Cup where Man City, Chelsea, and I believe Man U probably lost on the same weekend to lesser teams in the Championship and League One, etc. So we have seen these things and they do happen. Well, let's just see if they can actually build on this now going forward.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, they're going to be without the scorer, the very infrequent scorer, but scorer nonetheless. Jackson, last match week, he picked up his fifth yellow card as a striker and is now suspended for this game. So as soon as, Chelsea seem to have turned the corner somewhat, have the inconvenience of now having to get a replacement up front. And I'm also hearing that Chilwell has picked up another injury. This player seemed not to be able to stay fit. And again, another change may be needed in the Chelsea backline as Gusto also picked up a red card in their latest fixture against Aston Villa. So a few changes, a few headaches Pochettino has to contend with leading into this West London derby against Fulham.
I mean, it's very difficult to fathom and to accept as a coach, a striker getting 5 yellows within his first 7 games. I mean, it speaks to the discipline of the player. So that may be something they want to look into. As it relates to Chilwell, just unfortunate. One of the best left-sided players, at least English players, in the league on the left side in defense. As you said, just can't stay fit for any length.
Just indeed, it's quite shocking, and of course, Pochettino was not selecting him in his starting 11 before, playing him in this game against Brighton, and you would have thought that he would have kicked on, come out, really give a good account of himself, and force his way into the 11. I mean, one player who definitely gave a good account of himself in that game was Cucurella, the forgotten man, the former Brighton left back. I'm here, he's been described as an animal in that game by the likes of Endo Fernandez. So, Cucurella may very well get the nod for this one against Fulham. But tactically, Sir Cole, what can we expect from this Chelsea team? Is it same old, same old? The underlying analytics seem to suggest they are playing good football, but just missing that finishing touch. Does Pochettino rock the boat or does he continue with his faith in the players he has been selecting thus far?
It's a matter of, I mean, it's difficult to go either way. Should you change or not change is no guarantee that either decision will work. You can't really have a cake and eat it. You really have to make a decision and hope for the best. I really expect a similar type of game. I don't think it is time yet to press the panic buttons and start doing mega experiments. Just a few games gone in the season, I think they can actually try it a few more times and to see really if they can get it going properly to get results that they need.
Yeah, I mean, it would be a major surprise if any wholesale changes were made. A few players were rested during the midweek as well. The likes of Thiago Silva got his rest. He should be back in the heart of that Chelsea defense. And we also see a few midfield rotation options taking place as well. So I figure more or less Pochettino should revert to his usual or predominant starting 11 that he is used to. Caicedo seem to be coming into his own as well. Endo Fernandez is a must pick right now, just with that price tag on his head. And, other attacking players like Sterling, who had a decent enough game against Aston Villa, but just not putting away his chances. But, we know Sterling as not the most clinical of finishers. From his youth stage, Pep seemed to have gotten the best out of him when it comes to finishing, but he seemed to have been reverting to his old ways in Chelsea Blue.
Yeah, I mean, Pep really did have a way, to get the best out of that team with Sterling on the right and Sane on the left. I think that very potent duo on the wings, which combined to very good effect to secure Man City the title. I think it was 2018 or 19. So, I know it hasn't worked so far at Chelsea, but fortunes do change, and I hope it can change for him as a baller with Jamaican links.
Yeah, this one should have a jubilant atmosphere taking place on Monday as well. West London Derby, this is the final game that will close out this game week, game week 7. So all eyes will be on this match. But in terms of a predicted scoreline, Sir Cole, what are your thoughts on that?
I'm going with under 2.5 goals, and I think a 1-1 share of the goals will be the outcome of that game.
Oh, yes, indeed. You're sitting on the fence for this one, calling a
For this
draw down
one.
the middle. For me, I feel this Chelsea team is now beginning to gel. I am seeing signs of gelling, I'm seeing signs of the players, really putting in an effort. And this being a derby fixture, this one I believe taking place at Chelsea as well, if memory serves me correctly. I am thinking Chelsea may very well just pull out a narrow 1-0 victory. I am not anticipating a lot of goals. Scoring has been Chelsea's problem since the start of the season. And of course, with the now absence of Jackson, I really don't see that changing much. So they have been creating a few chances, but failing to take these chances. Leno on the Fulham side is in superb form, making a lot of saves. The defense in front of him with the likes of a Tim Ream is solid enough. They should cut down on the number of chances which Chelsea get. And, just that energy and that atmosphere may push them to put up a solid defensive showing. I do expect Chelsea to take the game to them, of course, with Fulham playing on the counter, breaking quickly, possibly trying to maximize set plays. But I think Chelsea playing well defensively, not giving up a lot of goals. Fulham, not the most potent of teams. I'm thinking Chelsea may very well pull out a narrow 1-0 victory in this one. But
Well,
we
our
move.
scores are possible.
Yeah, the ball is run, as they would say. So definitely, viewers and subscribers, you definitely will want to watch this one. This one coming up, as I said, on Monday. So no other games really to create any distractions. But the big one, Sir Cole, coming up on Saturday, the one everyone should be watching with bated breath, as this one will definitely have massive implications at the top of the table. Spurs taking on Liverpool. How do you see these two teams coming into this game, Sir Cole?
Uh, it will be one of the more evenly contested matchups of recent time. I think both teams are in good form. Liverpool on a very long unbeaten run spanning back from last season. Spurs in very good nick currently. Expect a tactical battle between both teams. Two good coaches getting good results. I'm I've already bought my drink and popcorn. You know, I am prepared for a well entertaining game.
Yeah, this one should have goals and goals galore. Both teams you really don't have the most airtight defense, to be honest with you. Liverpool constantly giving up goals to opponents, and fighting their way from behind. At some point in time, going down by a goal or two will eventually catch up on this team. So my concern for this one, for Liverpool in particular, is the fact that they have been giving up the first goal on several occasions. Can Spurs take the lead, Sir Cole, and hold that lead? Is the question.
I think they can take the lead. As whether or not they can hold it and for how long, I'm not so sure because I do think that Liverpool will score as well, and probably multiple times. I do see, as you said, a number of goals being scored in this fixture. And probably both teams scoring twice. Both teams will be on the front foot looking to get the maximum 3 points, and it will be a dogfight to get those 3 points.
Yeah, it should definitely be a dogfight, and especially with the style of play of both teams. Both teams are characterized by really building up from the back, playing it through the middle or down the flank, and then, hoping to execute or carve out chances which lead to goals. So definitely, and of course, both teams have a high pressing style also. This one, I think, will play out similar to how the Arsenal Spurs game went. Arsenal and Spurs both trying to impose their style on each other. And I think that is going to translate over into this game as well, where Liverpool and Spurs will both try to impose their style on each other. So to me, Sir Cole, I feel this one may very well come down to which team presses the best. Over the years, Liverpool have been this really good pressing team. But I think over the last 2 years and leading into this season, that press from Liverpool hasn't been as intense as it was initially under Klopp, maybe in his first 2, 3 years. The press from Liverpool seemed to have eased off, but I feel this one may come down to which team presses the ball and wins it back in the opponent's defensive third the most. What say you?
Well, over time, teams will eventually figure out what is working well with a particular team and put in place measures to counter such a thing. So if the press is yielding results, then Spurs will have to do their homework to see how can we minimize the effect of the press. Is it the same on the right side or on the left? Do we go for a long ball instead of trying to play from the back? So these are tactics that the coach will have to figure out and decide. Does he go more to one side or towards the center? So interesting times ahead.
Indeed, Sir Cole, you seem to be giving the viewers and subscriber a real masterclass there on how to beat the press. you know,
Yeah.
indeed, you're on Beating the Press podcast, and it's really an interesting outlook there in terms of the various ways that teams can actually counter, teams which are, known for their high pressing style. But we saw where Arsenal in the previous game Spurs played won the ball back in Spurs defensive third and could have scored from, those turnovers. I'm thinking if Liverpool is able to do similar, I feel they can bury a few chances in that regard. But for me, it's definitely gonna come down to which team can execute their pressing game the best. Liverpool is a more experienced outfit in terms of the fact that the coach has been working with these set of players longer than, Pochettino has been working with the Spurs player, and it may very well come down to just that little bit more of experience when you look at it. Of course, this one, Liverpool playing away from home, and I feel playing away from home may very well suit the Liverpool style as they can be devastating on the counter attack with the likes of Salah, Nunes, Diaz flying down the flanks. We've seen over the years where Liverpool have scored several magnificent counter-attacking goals. A team may be taking a corner and within seconds they're at the other end, ball tucked away neatly in the back of the net. So I
Yeah.
feel playing away from home may very well suit this Liverpool outfit as well.
Yes. I believe over the past few seasons, the away teams are getting better results because the home teams tend to want to come at you and leave space at the back to be exploited. And especially when Liverpool would have had Salah and Mane, they were able to exploit a space to very good effect, lightning fast counter attacks. And we see Darwin Nunes coming into some very good form. No, last season they really do so well, missed a number of big chances. However, we see where this season so far he has been able to find the net and a bit more clinical in front of goal. I think that when the dust settles, chance for chance, I think Liverpool will create more than Spurs will create. And they're looking for Liverpool. I think Liverpool will actually get the 3 points.
Interesting perspective there, Sir Cole. I mean, Son and Madison has been in red hot form and seem to be firing on all cylinders. And of course, this one is taking place at home as well. So they should even be more in their comfort zone. And of course, the effect of the fans can really destabilize even the most experienced of teams. And you're saying Liverpool to take this one?
If we look at the losses that Liverpool incurred last season, many of them were to lesser teams, and not necessarily to the what we term as the big teams. So Liverpool does turn up or have a tendency to turn up against the more established teams, but then far short versus the teams you expect them to walk over. So having counted Spurs as a bigger team, then I think that it will play similarly this season or
Mm.
rather
So Spurs no longer Spursy, you're saying?
not as much.
Yeah, I mean, this one should definitely be a very entertaining and interesting matchup, you know. I am expecting both teams to score though. But Sir Cole, from a tactical point of view and player selection, do you see any of the coaches making any major changes per se?
Not often. Probably if a Man City is very harder to predict in terms of their starting lineup. However, for both Spurs and Liverpool, I don't expect any major changes at all. I expect to see a similar starting 11 that we know week in, week out.
Yes, indeed. And I mean, I did see where Madison had picked up a knock, after that Arsenal fixture. Reports are saying he is still nursing a slight injury, but should be fit enough for this one. And of course, this Spurs team really depend heavily on his creativity in the middle of the park. So I'm sure Klopp will be looking to clamp down on limiting the number of chances or opportunity, that Madison gets on the ball and try to create havoc in this Liverpool defense. But for sure, I am anticipating that Liverpool will concede another goal in this one. And it will be down to the attacking players to try and find an antidote for whatever, the Spurs team threw at them. So for me, I'm expecting both teams to score, Sir Cole. As to a final result, to be honest, my gut instincts telling me that this one is going to end in another 2-2 draw. I feel both teams will score. Liverpool still on a 17-game unbeaten run, so there will be no easy nut to crack. But Spurs playing at home, being galvanized by the fans, I really can't see the Spurs team losing at home to Liverpool. So for me, I'm gonna call this one down the middle. I'm gonna call this one 2-2.
As much as it probably pains my heart, I think deep down Liverpool will get the 3 points on this one, and I'm seeing a 2-1 Liverpool win.
Yes, indeed. The ball is rolling, and I'll definitely be locked into this one to see how this one plays out. But Sir Cole, in terms of your thoughts on the other matches coming up over the weekend, what say you? What can we expect?
Well, we expect another exciting weekend of football. Personally, looking at Man U, I wonder if we can, move on as well. Seeing that Chelsea got a win, I'm wondering if our win can help us to, move forward a bit faster. We beat Burnley, we beat Palace in the cup game in midweek. So, I mean, we maintain a clean sheet as well, even with Lord Harry in defense. So let's see if we can maintain that going forward. I do believe we have some good fixtures going forward. So we should be able to pick up a few more points within the next few game weeks.
Yes, and another very interesting game is that game Brighton versus Aston Villa. That one, third place versus sixth place, and both teams have been, had a solid enough start to the season, and that one should be a very tight and entertaining fixture as well. But I mean, number of fixtures, the games are coming very quickly. As you turn, there's another fixture on the horizon, and of course, with Champions League football now back, managers will be looking to rotate and keep their squads fresh. Of course, a number of teams now dealing with injuries, the likes of Arsenal. I'm hearing a number of players are now down with injuries. Saka, long-term absentees, Timber,
Well,
Partey,
as
Rice picked
I've
up a back injury. So,
as I've said, a club is more than just the players and the coach. Most times, those are the ones that we see and want to put blame on because it's very easy to do so. However, the backroom staff and primarily the medical staff is very important as well as to how quickly and efficiently they can get players back onto the field of play and make them available for use. So if a player is out and the medical staff has treated the injury poorly, then you can expect to have a negative effect on the player as well as in team morale. So the backroom staff, especially medical, has a very critical role to play in the success of the club.
Yes, definitely key personnel. And, just to add to that point, Sir Cole, another interesting department that we see clubs really maximizing is your scouting department. Sometimes it comes down to who can scout, the best players to fit the team or the style of play. And we see Brighton over recent years seem to have become masters of that craft, where they have scouted well, bought players for little or nothing, and then selling on for 100+ million profit. So just to add to that point, as you say, it's more than just the players we see, but all departments have to be working in unison in order for really a team to really reap that success or that reward on the
Indeed,
field.
I heard a report recently um Brighton's net gain based on players bought and sold, and Brighton's accounts I think are looking rather healthy based on return on investment in terms of players they have bought at X price and sold for X times price. So yeah, as you say, the scouting department has been doing extraordinary work and it has been paying off, I think.
Yes, I mean, hat must goes off there, but at the end of the day, it boils down to the result on the field, So you could still have the most excellent of medical personnel, the most excellence of scouts, coaches, etc. At the end of the day, if the results are not going your way, then it's almost as if these personnel really count for little or nothing, really. So it still boils down to that result on the field. But any final words, Sir Cole?
Uh Game week 7, big clashes on the weekend. Still not of the top ilk, the Man U, Liverpool, the Liverpool Man City kind of a clash, but still good games nonetheless. And I expect to see some good football over this weekend.
Well, there you have it, viewers and subscribers. Another interesting week of football coming up to definitely look forward to. I just like to thank Sir Cole for passing through and definitely sharing his wisdom and, astute analytics with us. Viewers and subscribers, if you haven't subscribed as yet, please feel free to do so. And of course, continue to share the platform and help us to grow. But until next time, this is Rafa signing off.